Hey folks, Graham Hawthorne here. Today we're going to record a drum track in my living room. My buddy, the great saxophone player and producer Andy Snitzer, called me up, told me he needed a drum track all quick like, and my studio's booked, the great 127 Sound Space, which you all know about, of course. So we're going to do it in my living room instead. My buddy Elmo Price brought over some recording gear and some camera gear. Okay, there's Elmo. Elmo, what are we using to record with here?
We brought over my Zoom TAC 8 Thunderbolt interface. It's an 8-channel Thunderbolt interface. Yeah, I A/B'd it with my buddy's Apollo, and it just kind of I couldn't tell, So anyway, it's straightforward. It operates with it has like a software program, and so we were monitoring directly the drums without going through Pro Tools and the track from Pro Tools right at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, 0 latency. Nice. So here we go. It sounds okay?
Sounds better to me now.
Okay, so here's what we ended up with. Over here on the bass drum, it's Studio Projects condenser, CB2, I think it's called. The snare drum, we have the old tried and true SM57. And then on the floor tom, this Sennheiser dynamic mic, which worked out fine. Overheads, tell me about those, Elmo?
These overheads are like the cheapest large diaphragm condenser I could get at Guitar Center.
Okay. But they worked okay. Once we rolled off a little bottom, we put the stand for one of the overheads on these little pieces of foam because the mic was popping when I hit the bass drum for some reason. That took care of it. Then, because we had an extra channel in the interface, we just put up this EV dynamic mic, kind of a cheap SM58 copy made by EV Up, pointing right at the snare drum. On the hi-hat, we use this other AKG, relatively inexpensive condenser. We didn't much like it when I was playing with brushes, but when I started to ride on the hi-hat, it sounded fine. And it had a good amount of rejection because we pointed it way away from the snare drum. The room mic we took with this mic, tell me about it, Elmo.
It's a MXL Genesis. It's pretty inexpensive as condensers go, about $600, and it's the only mic MXL ever made that I liked.
It's a tube mic or a condenser?
It's a tube mic, yeah.
Yeah, with the power supply and everything.
Yeah, it has like a little power box. Yeah. You can see here.
It worked out fine. We tried it closer and further away, and in this room, we ended up liking it about 15 feet from the kit. This room is fairly live, wood floors, 12-foot ceilings, plaster walls, no sheetrock, which helps it sound decent. Sheetrock usually sounds terrible. So if you're building your studio room, try not to use sheetrock, and if you do, have somebody skim coat it all with plaster. Okay. Drum-wise, what we ended up using is, because it's the only thing I have in the house, 20 by 12 GMS CL bass drum. It's a custom-made drum. Great little drum. All their bass drums sound bigger than their size. 14 by 14 inch floor tom. SE 5.5 by 14 snare drum. Great drums. Evans heads all around. My Axis hardware in this lightweight line that I helped design with them. Aluminum stands, fantastic hi-hat stand, great cymbal stands, really light. Everything awesome. Maxonic stick holder, which comes in handy, particularly when you have to switch back and forth in a track between sticks and brushes, because you can just put your stuff there. It doesn't rattle, laying on top of the bass drum. And cymbals, I've got a 30th anniversary Istanbul Agop, fantastic. Closest thing you can get to an old K. Well, really, it is an old K. Pretty much exactly. 16-inch A Zildjian 1950 crash I got from my dad with 2 dimes taped to it for the faux rivet sound, and then a pair of 14-inch old K new stamp hi-hats.
So since we were recording remotely away from the producer, we decided to send them 3 different types of performances. The first one is a sort of swirly brush vibe on the snare drum, which sounds like this. The second one is a stick track, which sounds like this. The third was played with the brushes again, but it was more of a backbeat performance, keeping time on the hi-hat and snare drum. We thought they would end up using that one, but they ended up using the very first one that we took.
That's it.